Hello, and welcome to Anxious at Bedtime. Or Anxious at Bedtime? Okay.
You said it right the first time.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, I didn't know if people heard me. I whispered.
Oh, okay.
Been working on my whisper, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you for joining us. We are your co-hosts. My name is Monica. That is Cash.
I am Cash.
You are Cash.
I am.
It feels like it's been forever since we recorded,
Ooh, it does.
and a lot has happened.
Oh, it hasn't?
Yeah, both in our lives and in the news.
Oh, good thing you got stuff. I forget.
Yeah, I try to do better about writing it all down this time.
What'd you got?
Well, on our side, things were just crazy this past week because we had to have our bathroom redone, but at least it's done. We're thankful for that. Cash had to go on a spontaneous trip.
Oh, yeah. All of the above.
Yeah, that we weren't expecting, but that's done with. And oh my gosh, there's been so much stuff. Okay. Do you remember when you were playing with GhostTube?
Ooh, I did play with it.
It said our cat's name.
Oh, it did say our cat's name. It said Kevin. That's wild.
Our cat that was in the room with us, it said Kevin. And then, do you remember what it said after?
No, but I wanna throw out there that I've made sure that every time that I've messed with GhostTube, that I've never said any names.
Yeah.
I don't say my name, your name, the cat's names, no names. I don't say no names.
Yeah.
So that shit was wild.
It was very weird.
And I don't think Monica's ever said anyone's name either, because
No.
she's usually not in the room when I play with it, because she's all spooked out.
Yeah.
And no, I don't remember after. Jog my memory.
So it said Kevin, and then we looked at each other like, what the heck? And even Kevin looked at us like, what? And then it said 7.
Oh yeah, it did. It sure did.
Yeah, which at first I thought was a reference to like 7 the ghost on TikTok. But then we realized Kevin is 7 years old.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It was a little awkward.
Yeah. And then this didn't happen like since we last recorded. This is old. But to go off of what Cash was saying with we don't say names, we've had GhostTube tell us names before, but it has never been names we recognized. It was when we were in that haunted restaurant. Do you remember the pizza place?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, it said, I might have them in my notes. Hold on. Okay. It said Angela and Nicholas. So like a man's name and a woman's name. As we were sitting there eating dinner, eating cheese curds, waiting for our dinner. And then it said, I want one.
It did say I want one, and I was like, I feel that, player, but you're not getting one. I recall.
Yeah, almost as if we were on a double date with a couple we couldn't see, Angela and Nicholas.
Who are not getting my cheese curds, let it be known.
They got no cheese curds. But yeah, so we've had it say names before, just never names that we recognized or names of anyone in the room. So that was really weird. Do you want to talk about Grandpa?
So on St. Patrick's Day, I was messing with it, which also so happens to be my grandfather who passed away's birthday. And it started making some references that were very similar to some shit my grandpa would say, like that there's a heater, meaning absolutely dog shit. But it said some shit like that about some shit. Yeah, it was just wild. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's real and it picks up those energies, but I mean, freaking crazy that it made a lot of references about my grandpa on my grandpa's birthday.
It is very weird. And then you had sent me a picture of your grandpa, an old like newspaper clipping.
Ooh, I did.
And I was trying so hard to find the newspaper or any more pictures. And I was like, you know what? Just for funsies, let me open up GhostTube. And I did. And the first thing it said was, stop looking for me. So I stopped.
That was while I was at work, though.
Yeah, he was at work. But yeah, so all of that was super weird. Then apparently there's gnomes in Utah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, have you seen those TikToks?
No, I have not.
So a woman...
That's why you want to fucking go back.
Yeah.
Okay. You wild ass.
A woman... Whoa.
What was that?
Squelched. I don't know. That's not even the right word, but that was scary.
Squelch.
A woman and her son were visited in their backyard, I think, by little gnomes, what looked like gnomes. And they tried recording it. I don't think they really got it on camera very well, but they did leave offerings. And so you could follow along with her story for a little bit, but after a few of her TikToks, people started saying, I don't think those are gnomes. I think they are duendes.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what they're called, which basically, if you leave them offerings, it's like you are offering them your soul or like into your life. And so now people are freaking out like, oh my gosh, you're like gonna be possessed by these little creatures. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
That's how you become a gnome.
Yeah. Oh.
See why I don't fucking do nice shit?
Yeah. Just mind
Things
your
are always
business.
trying to possess you and take advantage, dude.
Yeah.
I just keep removing.
Very much the motto is just mind your business.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Whew. And then a new photo in the year of 2025 has been captured
That's 2025, folks.
of the Loch Ness Monster.
Ooh, the Loch Ness Oh, I didn't even hear that bullshit.
Yeah,
When
I don't
did
think
that happen?
like last week, I think. It's not like you see it the photo and you're like, "Oh, that's the Loch Ness Monster." But it's like a dark shadow underneath the water at the lake, at the loch. And yeah, it's believed to be the Loch Ness Monster.
That's dope.
Let me show you.
Some poor fellows out there fucking scuba diving feels hella bad about
gosh.
himself now. I don't know what that is, but I don't know if I'd say the Loch Ness Monster. It's just a bump in the water.
I think what else would it be, you know? It's the Loch Ness Monster.
A bump in the water.
I believe it until they prove it ain't it.
Hey, so you remember that one time we talked about how the moon landing probably wasn't real, or, you know, supposedly wasn't real?
I don't know if we talked about that on here, but yeah.
Anyways, you know, I don't know. How long after the moon landing do you think people really started doubting it? Because I think it really came down to like a few years later. People were like, fuck, dude, we landed on the moon. What's next? Because that was like, that captivated everybody.
Yeah.
That captivated people in foreign nations. Like, oh, America's landing on the moon. Like, that drew attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then nothing happened for years. Like, 5 years later, they were like, dude, we got something for you. And they're like, what is it? And it's like wheels on suitcases. Some bullshit like that. Like, ooh. So they're like, dude, ain't shit else going on. Like, we landed on the moon, and the next thing you got for us is fucking, like, sliced bread in a bag and wheels on... I don't know how that shit is either, or the suitcase wheels. But, like, some bullshit. So people were like, hold on. Like, at least the last exciting thing we had was we landed on the motherfucking moon. Let's go replay that shit. And they were watching it, and they were like, hold on. Wait. Because I think that's what brought the skepticism.
Probably, yeah.
That's not news. It just came across my mind, and I decided to vocalize it.
That is random, but I get it. Yeah, especially lately. I think now because so much time has passed since then, and like you said, nothing has really happened. I think it is that time that is causing people to think like, okay, why aren't we repeating that? Why aren't we doing it again?
Now I think technology has a huge lead on things. People are looking into things with more of a like magnifying scope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just because of time, just they're able to.
That's true, and a better understanding of stuff like that too. I know. I told you about it, but I took a class in college where one of my professors had us watch the moon landing, and pointed out all of the things that didn't make sense. So that was a really interesting class, though. But yeah, people are definitely taking a closer look at the moon landing. And
that's what I'm saying, though. Like, the skepticism didn't exist. I don't believe, like, immediately when it happened. I think it came, like, a couple years later. But at what point, like, were they like, hold on, dude? There's no fucking way. What was that final line where people were like, you know, that guy down the street that brought it up that one time is onto something?
I don't know. But it is definitely interesting.
It is very interesting.
Not saying that I do or don't believe that it was faked, but I am very open to discussion. There was one more thing. Oh, this one I didn't write in my notes because I just saw it last night. But I just saw a TikTok about... I don't even know where to fucking start. I saw a TikTok last night of a woman. She, like, wrote into a TikToker, you know?
Yeah.
And she was saying that in, like, 2011... when all of the fear of 2012 was being discussed.
Yeah.
She asked her friend's mom, who was a medium, she asked her, like, what do you think is going to happen with 2012? Like, is it the end of the world like everybody thinks? And basically what she said, I'm definitely paraphrasing, but she believed that leading up to 2012, there were different dimensions, and people could, like, bounce back and forth between all the dimensions on accident all the time. And that's why there would be, like, small things that were a little bit different, but, like, nobody really realized on a large scale.
Small noticeable differences because it was happening so frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then in 2012, it wasn't the end of the world. It was that ability, like the portals between dimensions, shut. And so people couldn't pass back and forth anymore. So whether you were in your original
The right
dimension or
dimension
timeline,
yeah.
whatever, yeah. Or you were not, it didn't matter. You were there. That's the one you're in for the rest of your life. But the part that really stood out to me is she said there were two paths you could take. You could either be the one where time would pass excruciatingly slow, or the one where time would pass seemingly like so fast you feel like you can't even get like your feet on the ground. Time's just flying by. Which is weird because I don't know about you, but I remember definitely, like, of course, childhood, whatever. But I remember when I was a child feeling that, like, time is going so slow. It's been 3 hours and it's only been 2 minutes. Like, let's get a move on things. But now I'm constantly saying, like, for just COVID, it's been 5 years since COVID happened. How?
Some shit drags on for me and some shit just flies by. It depends on the day, it depends on the situation for me.
Yeah. Maybe it's just like the menial stuff, the stuff that you're like, can't wait to get this over with. That drags, but life overall feels like it's flying by.
I feel that. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Again, that is very like, whoo, you know, but interesting to talk about, interesting to think about. And I think that would explain why we started seeing the Mandela effects and stuff following 2012 is because people got stuck in the wrong timelines. Very weird.
It's a very good theory on it.
Yeah. But I promise we are not crazy people. We are just very open to discussions about all things.
Oh, don't promise about the Wii stuff. Also, did we discuss ever on this that they suppose they found Jack the Ripper?
No, I don't think we did.
They're pretty fucking sure from like some loincloth, not really loincloth, but some clothing ran DNA on it.
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't know if I believe it.
I mean, maybe. If not, what the fuck else are they hiding that they just, scooted under the rug when they said they supposedly found it or
Yeah.
found him?
I don't know. It's just weird to me that I haven't looked into it, but to my understanding, it was a shawl that was like kept in a random person's like somebody owned it, right? And then that person was randomly like, let's get this DNA tested.
Something of that nature.
That's weird. But I'm not going to lie. At first, I was all in. But then I saw Elena from Morbid posted that she didn't believe it was true and she would explain why. I haven't listened to her explanation. But she's like the Jack the Ripper person. Like she knows all the information, you know?
Oh, she's the subject matter expert.
Yeah.
At Jack the Ripper.
So her opinion is very interesting to me, to say the least.
I can conceptualize that.
Yeah. But I'll find what episode she discusses that and get back to you.
Oh, I just never believe it because I'm a conspiracist.
I know. A very, light...
No, because I'm a skeptic.
Skeptic. Okay, that's the word. I was going to say you're a very light conspiracist. You just like talking about stuff. But yes, you're a big skeptic. So, to finally get started on this episode...
Oh, yeah.
I feel a little bad that we,
At 16 minutes and 45 seconds.
Oh, good gravy. But I feel a little bad, like it's a bait and switch, because we had this crazy, let's talk about all the tin hat shit and, in the beginning. And now this episode is not a very paranormal or spooky episode.
It's about how to make fucking sourdough.
Yes. No.
Oh, shit. No, I was going to get so mad. Like, oh, my gosh.
No. We are talking about... We're finally doing the medical history episode that I keep promising. To start this episode off, I'm going to tell you a story.
Oh, I like stories.
Probably won't like this one.
Oh, man. What if I do?
Let me know if you do.
Oh.
August 19th.
I don't like it.
1702.
Ooh, I'm back in.
Was a warm, beautiful day.
I'm definitely in. I like warm and beautiful.
The sun was shining.
I do like that.
The birds were chirping.
Ooh, it gets annoying, but all right.
And Anthony Gray decided to enjoy the fine weather with a game of bowl.
I don't know what that is.
You should, because we discussed it in our last episode, the leprechaun one.
Oh.
Do you remember?
Nope.
It's like croquet or bocce.
Okay.
Yeah. Anthony Gray was the 11th Earl of Kent, and he was basically on vacation in Tunbridge Wells.
So you're not talking Kent, Washington. Got it.
No. At that time, the town was the hot spot for wealthy people to vacation because of the mineral waters that were there were believed to have special healing qualities.
Were they? I didn't know you wanted to respond. Were they now?
Yeah. So picture like the Hamptons, but woo woo.
Ooh, woo.
Woo woo. About 12 days into his stay, Mr. Gray ran into an old pal, Dr. Charles Goodall.
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 They played a round of bowl together one evening, then separated but continued to play on their own.
Ah, still in the same vicinity, just not together.
On the same field. A short while later, 57-year-old Anthony Kent fell dead to the ground right there on the field.
Well, that's pretty rude. He should have gone somewhere else. People were probably trying to play there.
As soon as Dr. Goodall got word, he ran to help his friend. He said Mr. Gray was definitely dead, not breathing, and he didn't have a pulse. But he had, quote, only 1 or 2 rattlings in the throat.
The fuck does that mean?
I don't know.
How many rattlings of the throat do I have?
My best guess is he meant death rattles.
Ooh, okay.
But other than that,
I have none.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know what he could have meant. I'm skeptical that Dr. Goodall knew for sure whether this Earl of Kent was or was not dead.
Yeah, I think he hoped he was, and maybe he had something to do with it. That's the way it sounds to me.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because the information that we know all of this from was a letter from Dr. Goodall to a colleague that was like put in a, I don't think I put it in my notes, but put in a museum somewhere.
Oh.
And the letter kind of reads as him trying to make sure he has an alibi.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't see, hold on, what's his name? Oh, Anthony Kent, the Earl of what? Anthony Gray. Okay, I wrote his name too many different times. But he would say, like, I didn't see Anthony Gray until 12 days into his vacation, and then I saw him, and we hung out, and he did say they had words, like they had a little bit of a disagreement, and then they went their different ways. But he was definitely still on the field, and he was definitely still playing bowl, and people saw him, and he definitely was not with Anthony Gray when Anthony Gray died. But as soon as he heard, he made sure he ran to help. And then, like, the rest of the letter, or I guess the beginning of the letter, was really weird because he was kind of like talking smack about Anthony Gray, saying, like, he was so unhealthy and he didn't exercise besides a short little walk to dinner every day. And it was the only time he played bowl was the time he played bowl with me because he didn't want to do any exercise and he ate whatever he wanted and, like...
So he's like, serves that fat bitch right.
Something, yeah. It was a very weird, off-putting letter. But I'm not saying he had anything to do with it. He allegedly didn't. But anyway.
I digress.
Yeah. Dr. Goodall was a good doctor, after all, and he couldn't just let his pal die. So he tried Allegedly. He tried everything he could to save his life. Everything except CPR. In his defense, CPR wasn't invented until the 1950s.
Well, that's a good reason to not perform it.
First, he cut both arms and bled more than half a pint of blood for Mr. Gray.
It's pretty rude.
Yeah, just for reference, when you donate blood, they usually take about 1 pint. So half of that, which doesn't sound like a crazy lot. Yeah, but exactly. It was just to see if it worked. Then he shoved snuff and ammonium chloride up his nose, which I'm pretty sure is smelling salts.
Maybe?
Yeah, I couldn't find exactly for sure, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I'd be pretty scared to just Google some of these chemical compounds.
Yeah. The doctor made sure to mention he used the best ammonium chloride, which meant it was likely made from the urine of a camel.
At least it wasn't the urine of a drunk guy.
That's fair. Then he poured 2 shots of vinum benedictum down his throat, which is like a medicinal wine.
Ooh.
Yeah. Basically, his logic was if he fucks up Mr. Gray's body enough, he'll either need to vomit, cough really bad, or sneeze, which could make him come back to life.
All right.
So it's kind of like torture the body, save the soul.
Yeah, like People are like, I got a cough, and they're like, fucking cut his arm.
Yep.
Bleed him out a little, put a leech on it.
I'm surprised that he didn't try to tickle him. I feel like that's just get right to the point, you know?
Well, he wasn't sneezing hard. You don't have to tickle him if he's not sneezing hard. That's just wasted effort.
But keep in mind, all of that was right there on the bowl field. Like, still in the grass, people walking back and forth in this, like, old-timey resort.
And they're like, yeah, weird friendship, guys.
Mm-hmm. So after he tried all of that, Mr. Gray was then taken to his bedroom, and the life-saving treatments continued.
Well, the same guy.
Yeah, by the same Dr.
I don't know if he was trying to save his life.
I don't know either. Hold on. It gets worse.
Oh.
The doctor wanted scarification cupping to be done on his shoulders, but apparently there weren't any cupping glasses in the entire town. For scarification cupping, they would cut the skin and put a cupping glass over the cut to like suction it.
Mm-hmm.
It would create a vacuum that would bleed the patient faster than normal bloodletting. So,
nice.
Yeah, he already pulled out a half pint.
At least they tried to do it quick.
Yeah. And now he's like, that was too slow. Let's do it faster.
I was like, yeah, that, but faster.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, there were no
signs of a struggle.
No, there were none of those cups anywhere in the town, so he couldn't do that.
Oh, good.
So the doctor shaved Mr. Gray's head and took this, like, ointment that would cause his skin to blister, put that on a Band-Aid, slapped that Band-Aid on his shaved head.
Boil it out the forehead?
Yeah, something.
Dude, those times are wild. I'm glad. Watch, what's going to happen in the future is they're going to be like, you guys did what now? You got in what machine? The doctor stabbed you with needles? What are you talking about? Oh, my God. Those guys were wild. So, I mean, maybe.
I even put that in my notes further down. Like, yeah.
How far we've come with medical science as far as allegedly.
Yeah, exactly, though. He made some more of those blistering Band-Aids and put them on his neck and shoulders for good measure.
He went all out.
Next, he fed him a liquid laxative.
Oh, fuck.
Then
A dead guy?
A dead guy.
At least he's cleaning him out so it's not a messy funeral.
Oh, good gravy.
Oh.
Then 2 doctor friends joined Goodall, and they tossed around some treatment ideas for a while. But ultimately, word got out to the Earl's daughter, and she asked if his body could be taken home.
Probably the right choice.
Mm-hmm. So, everybody got in a stagecoach and headed to the Earl's home. Once they got him situated in his own bed, they agreed on the next best treatment. They took several pipes of tobacco, presumably one after the other, hopefully not all at the same time. They lit them and blew the smoke into the Earl's anus.
Yeah, I was going to just ask into his rectum.
Yep.
I felt that coming. I'm surprised it took this long.
Yep.
It's fucking wild. Did he wake up?
Nope.
I would have woken up. That's probably the logic right there. They're like, dude, if somebody blew some stuff in my butthole, I'm definitely coming back from the dead to slap him.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a last resort. That's some death, like life-saving fucking last resort.
But
hats off, my guys.
He did not come back to life, though, so keep in mind, all of this is being done to a dead body.
Oh yeah, no. Like I said, I'm not gonna blow in somebody's butthole alive or dead. So
no.
Hats off, my guys.
This was known as a tobacco smoke enema.
Ooh, not doing it.
No. And
somebody blew smoke in my butthole. Like that's a new definition of blowing smoke up your ass.
That's where we get the phrase.
I know, but I mean, if somebody really did it, like if I woke up and somebody's blowing smoke in my butthole, can you imagine the lawsuit? Yeah. I used to think I'd fight people, but right now I'm just going to sue you. I need the money. It'd be pretty cool to be rich.
Yeah, oh my gosh. It was an extremely popular medical practice.
That's why I'm saying shit was wild.
Especially for people that drowned.
Oh yeah, you blow it in their butthole and the water flows out their mouth again.
Yeah.
Duh.
I guess that's the logic. I don't know.
Doesn't work anymore because now we know.
But the height of its popularity was during both the 17th and 18th centuries. So it was around for a while. It started as just using a tobacco pipe. The person administering it would place a handkerchief over the bowl on the pipe, put the other end inside the person in need of treatment, and then they would blow on the covered bowl. But that person had to be extremely careful because it was pretty common to get fecal matter inside of your mouth if you weren't.
At least you know that it wasn't fun for the people blowing in the buttholes either.
Yeah. Eventually, kits were made that used bellows. Do you know what those are?
Nope.
So it's like, you've seen them at Nana's house.
Probably.
It's like
you tell me every time. I know you bring them up.
It's like two paddles attached to each other, and you
Oh yeah, yeah,
like an
yeah. Now I
accordion
remember.
almost. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it blows.
I'm not
So
gonna lie. If I went to be a doctor and somebody told me I had to blow in somebody's butthole all the time, but like, you
yeah,
guys, we're gonna work on this and find a different way.
yeah.
I don't know why I was famous for so fucking or popular for so fucking long.
Isn't that crazy? That's the biggest thing with so many of these weird medical things is why did you guys do that for so long? I can understand everyone's sick, whatever. You're just throwing. What's the phrase? Throwing rice at a wall.
I don't know.
I don't think that's it. But like just trying stuff. But to keep doing one thing like that
I'm
long,
telling you, my
weird.
first day when I'm like, yeah, I'll be a doctor, and they're like, yeah, you got to blow the smoke in that guy's butthole. I'd be like, why? And they're like, well, it brings them blah blah blah. They tell me, and I'd be like, can you fucking show me one time it ever worked? And they'd be like, no, but we believe. And I'd be like, God, no,
Exactly.
I don't believe I'm gonna do it.
I don't understand it.
I know in the future they're gonna think what we do is wild, but that, what the fuck?
I hope it's at least less wild than that. You know, some of it, I'm sure will be like, why did you guys do that?
That's what I'm saying now. Imagine how, like, further down the road, how much more
Yeah.
prevalent it is going to be, where they're like, wait, you did what? Yeah, that was wrong. That was silly. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully not so many where they're like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's more so that they're like, that's a lot of extra work.
Yeah. I hope. But yeah, so eventually there were kits made that used bellows and really long tubes. So you weren't right up, you know.
I get it. Now I have another very big question that just pains me. So there's many a doctor in the world nowadays that go to medical school. I'm sure they're aware that this used to be a medical practice. Why haven't they released this to the rest of the world to let us know that people used to blow smoke up the ass, like, for real? Like, why isn't that common knowledge?
I don't know.
Why the fuck didn't I know this?
I don't know. It's not like it's hidden. I accidentally found this.
That should be very fucking common knowledge. Like, doctors, I mean, I'd be a weird doctor, admittedly. Fuck off.
You're like, hi, I'm Dr. Cash. Did you know we used to blow smoke in people's butts?
That's not how
What?
I'd introduce myself. But absolutely, if somebody got an enema, I'd be like, you know, they used to actually blow real smoke up your ass? Like, yeah. You'd be like, I'm going to go outside for a smoke break. And they're like, no, hold on.
Oh,
We
God.
got somebody in room 5. Yeah, like, but they don't tell you that.
Yeah.
Granted,
don't know.
never needed them to blow something in my butt, but
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, and we're walking.
I guess there was a point in time, back to the kids, where those were all over the banks of rivers just in case somebody drowned and needed to be resuscitated via smoke.
Oh, I thought you meant like they were blowing smoke up at each other's asses everywhere.
No.
Like, fuck yeah.
No. I just want it noted right here, right now. Please do not blow smoke into my booty hole.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm out. Yeah,
I
I'm
don't-
team no probe.
Yeah.
Mentioned that earlier today again.
I'm team probe, team no smoke blow, please.
And I'm no smoke butt, no butt, nothing.
No, but
Don't touch my butt.
that, yeah, and again, this is on a dead man's body. Like that,
Oh, yeah, again, whether I'm alive or dead. Don't touch my butt.
crazy.
Just leave it alone.
But anyway, back to the Earl. As you can imagine, none of the treatments worked.
Oh, yeah, no.
Doctor,
I think I would have heard about the time they blew smoke up some guy's ass and he came back to life.
yeah,
They would definitely talk about that one.
yeah. Dr. Goodall believed the death was because of a stroke. We know all of these details, like I said, because he wrote a letter explaining everything to a colleague. Okay, and that letter is now in the library in Oxford. That's where it is. This letter was mostly published in this great library book I checked out called
neat.
The Mystery of the Exploding Teeth and Other Curiosities from the History of Medicine by Thomas Morris.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, super long name, but it's a great book. So I recommend if you're into weird old-timey medicine, go read it because I barely even scratched the surface with old-timey medical stuff. There's so much more.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm into that kind of shit. It's pretty intriguing,
I know.
but I don't know how to read. Like, I can't sit down and do it.
Yes, I get that. Next is a medical miracle and a surgery that helped pave the way for modern medicine.
Oh, I bet they're not blowing smoke in buttholes.
No, it's not a creepy treatment, but it is a weird story.
That still paved the way for modern medicine. As fucked up as it is, blowing smoke up the ass did something for modern medicine. Like, hey, doesn't work. After way too long.
I guess.
Anyways.
On May 29th, 1635, a man named Andrew Grunbeid, I didn't look that one up,
Something like that.
woke up with a hangover. He decided the quickest way to get back to normal life and cure his hangover
Hair
was
of the dog.
to make himself throw up.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, I definitely don't recommend this, but his plan was to touch the back of his throat, and I guess he couldn't reach, or maybe he didn't want to be unhygienic and use his hands. I don't know.
Oh.
But what we do know is he chose to use a long object instead, a 6-inch knife.
This much we know.
Yep.
It is not good.
So he took the knife and he used the handle to tickle the back of his throat.
Well, at least you used the handle.
Yeah.
Where was the blade?
In his hand. And yeah, in the mouth, I guess.
Genius.
But he used the handle to tickle the back of his throat, but it wasn't doing the trick. So he pushed it a little further back and, oh no, he dropped the knife. The knife fell down his throat and into his stomach, apparently not cutting anything in the process, so wild.
At least you got that going.
Yeah, I don't know if it is extremely dull, and that's why he felt comfortable using it
Butter
or
knife?
what. Yeah, but no, it definitely wasn't a butter knife.
Oh.
Andrew, understandably, was freaked out, but what do you do in that situation back then? He continued on as normal.
Yeah, you don't tell nobody.
No, he told people.
Oh.
He told a lot of people.
I'd be way too fucking embarrassed. Like, I mean, at least for the first year.
Yeah.
After that, I'm telling everyone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, nobody really knew what to do, but eventually doctors were concerned for him, and they had a meeting on June 25th. Remember that he swallowed it on May 29th. So on June 25th, they had a meeting to discuss what they could do for Andrew. They decided the best course of action was to do an almost unheard of surgery where they would cut open his stomach and remove the knife.
All right.
The operation was scheduled for July 9th, but until then, Andrew was supposed to drink balsamic oil because the doctors believed it would act as a painkiller and also make him heal faster after the surgery. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Yeah.
I do like balsamic vinaigrette sometimes, though.
Yeah, I wonder how similar that is, but when the day of the surgery came, a whole bunch of different doctors and students gathered around Andrew.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. They marked the incision site with a piece of coal. They said a group prayer, and then the surgery started. His stomach was slippery, so they had to use a curved needle to scoop it out.
Say curved needle?
Uh-huh. Then they cut it open and removed the knife.
All right.
Keep in mind, the human stomach, according to Google, is only about 12 inches by 6 inches, and they just pulled out a 6-inch knife.
Yeah. So it's half the stomach.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was hella hungry after, I bet.
Probably.
I would have been. When I've had no knife, so I'm like, yeah, just serve me something I don't need a knife for.
Yeah. But of course, that was an amazing feat. Everyone cheered. Everyone was in awe. None more so than Andrew himself, who was indeed awake and watching the entire surgery.
Yeah, I figured.
Oh my god. According to historical documents, he basically said, "Hey, that's definitely the knife I swallowed."
There it is. Can I have it back?
Yeah.
I've been having salad for dinner.
Yeah.
1, you guys recommended it. 2, I couldn't find my knife to cut my steak.
Crazy.
Figured that was the one I swallowed, but I wasn't sure.
Wasn't completely sure, no. The doctor cleaned the wound and stitched Andrew up. He poured tepid balsam over the sutures. Then he smeared on a paste made of egg whites, clay, and alum? Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
I don't think it's alum. I think it's alum.
At least you know it's expensive because they used eggs.
Yeah. But still, egg whites on a open cut. That's...
Wild. Yeah.
His recovery was so quick that by the day after the surgery, Andrew was able to eat broth, and a week later, he was able to eat rhubarb.
That is pretty fucking wild. So maybe those fucking egg whites they're onto something with those.
Maybe. Or the balsamic oil, maybe. Helped him heal real fast. 2 weeks after the surgery, he was fully healed and went on to live a full, happy life.
All right. Well, there are sword swallowers in the circus, so
That's fair.
shouldn't be too surprised, I suppose.
But how many of them live with the sword inside their stomach for months?
I don't know. We've never really asked. I don't know anybody who has.
The knife that he swallowed was kept in the King of Prussia's library for a long time, but unfortunately it did get lost over time, so we don't know where it is.
The guy's family finally came and took it. They were like, this is part of our set, dude.
Maybe.
Couldn't find this till you published this damn book.
Oh, perhaps. But weirdly enough, that was not the first gastric surgery done. There was one recorded before it in 1602.
Oh, shit.
It was performed by Florian Mathis.
He was bored.
His patient, a professional sword swallower. That, yes, swallowed a knife.
Well, look at me.
Mm-hmm.
Always allow eerily to the party.
Yeah. So, you have knives to thank for spearheading gastric surgeries. I couldn't find much information on the first one, but I do wonder how big that knife was.
Probably an inch.
If it was a sword swallower, you know?
Exactly. He wanted to challenge himself. Fucking swords are nothing. Let's try this little knife. Let's see what I can do. And he's like, where'd it go?
Oops.
Where'd it go?
Ugh, scary.
And his wife's like, yeah, where did it go? I was using that. It was my dinner knife, asshole. He burped and he's like, oh, fuck, there it is.
Gravy. Now I just have some random stuff for you.
Oh.
Yeah. First, Listerine.
Oh, I know about that. I've used it.
Mm-hmm. Did you know it was originally created as a surgical antiseptic?
Yes.
Oh, because I told you.
Oh, no, I knew that first.
Oh, okay. It was invented in 1879 by Dr. Joseph Lawrence, and he named it after Dr. Joseph Lister, who was the pioneer of antiseptics in surgery. It was also marketed as sort of like a hand sanitizer, but that didn't really take off.
Yeah, people didn't really know about washing their hands. They still don't for the most part.
So, in 1881, it was licensed to a pharmacist named Jordan Lambert, who started the Lambert Pharmaceutical Company, which eventually was acquired by Pfizer.
Oh, shit.
Over the years, it has also been marketed as floor cleaner,
Yeah.
gonorrhea treatment,
Oof.
cold and sore throat
Wait,
remedy.
did it work for the gonorrhea?
I don't think so.
I
I
don't
think that's
think
why
they use it anymore, so
Yeah.
why'd they start?
I don't know. Cold and sore throat remedy.
Yep.
And even a cure for dandruff.
I bet it works pretty good for a minute.
Right? Yeah, I kind of feel like it would. But the real cash cow came in 1895 when they started promoting it to dentists. In 1914, it officially became the first ever over-the-counter mouthwash. Listerine took its final chomp into America's heart in the 1920s when it started being advertised as a cure for halitosis. Nobody had ever really heard of halitosis before, so when they learned of this scary new thing that makes it hard to date and hard to have a social life, they were all in on treating it.
Yeah, stink breath ain't no joke.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not playing.
No.
Not being facetious at all. Brush your teeth.
Yeah, please. The switch to the halitosis cure only took 7 years to boost sales from $115,000 to more than $8 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were like, no bad breath for us, please.
Well, have you ever heard of Listerine? And everyone's like, fuck, I knew I saw that commercial and I needed to get it. I'm on it, boss.
Isn't that weird, though? The first over-the-counter mouthwash in 1914?
No.
I think it is.
Like I said, people still struggle to wash their hands.
That's fair. Please wash your hands.
Please.
Next, we have a wild turn of events to get to the weird treatment.
Oh.
First, opium was discovered and used as a painkiller, but it wasn't very strong. Then, somebody took opium and isolated a part of it that we call morphine. Morphine was way more potent and way more effective than opium itself. In the 1800s, it became commercially available as a painkiller, but also as a treatment for opium addiction. But then people started getting addicted to morphine, so they invented a non-addictive alternative, heroin. Because it was such a safe alternative, that meant it was perfect for children, right? So that's who Bayer Pharmaceuticals, yes, that one, advertised to. Mothers bought it up, and children loved to take it, at least according to their ads. It was very common to see ads where children were like, "Oh, mother, I can't wait to take my heroin."
Hell yeah.
But don't worry, doctors soon realized it was indeed very addictive, and heroin hit the market in 1895, but it only took until 1913 for it to be removed.
It's a long-ass time.
And it was only 11 more years before the FDA banned it altogether.
Fuck.
So that was They started with a drug, found out, hey, that's really addictive, made another drug so that people weren't addicted to that first one. And they're like, hey, that's really addictive. Made another one. And then all of a sudden we have 16 drugs that, everyone's just getting addicted to. Isn't that insane? I didn't know that.
That is.
That all these drugs were made to cure addictions for the previous drug.
I didn't realize that either, but that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Next up, teeth cutting.
Like vampires or just for regular funsies?
Worse. As
Ooh.
we know, life in years past was hard. And because of the lack of medical care and knowledge as we know it, people died a lot. Unfortunately, children were no exception, especially those between the ages of 6 months to 2 years. Doctors at that time thought the deaths could be connected to teething because that happens right around the same time. So, they tried to create a bunch of cures. They would blister the gums, put leeches on them, and eventually they started lancing. To lance, they would cut away the gums until the bone was exposed.
Sounds terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Your gums don't grow back.
No. I can completely understand the thought process behind teething being dangerous. If you've ever been around a teething child, you know, like, that shit's scary.
Yeah. That is pretty scary.
Mm-hmm. Even if you've just seen a TV show where the parents are dealing with the teething baby, like, you can see how traumatic and painful that is for a child. Even teething animals can be crazy and just chew on stuff all day because it hurts their mouth. Or, you know what I mean. It makes it feel better to chew.
I do it sometimes.
That's true. Teething can be a nightmare, but it's usually just discomfort. For the most part, kids will get past it. It's typically not dangerous. The potential side effects of lancing include meningitis, severe dehydration and or starvation, pneumonia, sepsis, difficulty breathing, blood loss, and risk of serious infection. Any one of those could lead to death, especially back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do have to mention that teeth lancing does have cultural significance to some communities in Africa, however, and is still practiced today.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. One thing I really want to drive home is that science is ever evolving. Just because it's the 21st century doesn't mean that we have it all figured out. Like Cash said, I'm sure in 50 years or 100 years, they'll look at stuff we're doing now and shake their heads. But that's what makes history so interesting.
Fair.
For every single one of these stories, the people involved thought they found the solution to whatever they were trying to cure.
At least for a moment in time, they did.
Yeah. That's
science, baby.
With that in mind, let's jump to a more recent treatment.
Oh, shit.
This one is fen-phen.
Well, fentanyl?
No.
Oh.
Fen-phen is a miracle weight loss medication that hit the shelves in the 1900s.
It's hard here in the 1900s because that could have just been a couple years ago.
It started out as 2 separate diet pills, an appetite suppressant named fenfluramine and an amphetamine named phentermine.
Yeah.
In the 70s, they were combined into one superdrug, fen-phen. The new pill hit the market in 1992, and almost immediately, people were obsessed.
Yeah, it's like Quaaludes, man. They love that shit.
People, especially women, were easily shedding 30 pounds with no visible side effects, but there were definitely side effects. It wasn't long until people started reporting side effects, including hundreds of cases where people had developed heart valve issues.
Yeah.
In 1997, the pills were removed from the shelves, but so that was still 5 years that people were taking them religiously. But they weren't removed from the shelves before more than 6 million Americans had already taken them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary. But nobody likes talking about modern day horrors, so let's jump back in time again and discuss the other side of history.
All to 1942.
While medical treatments of the past might have gotten a lot wrong, they also sometimes got a lot right. Or they were at least eerily close to how things worked, considering the limited knowledge on infections and diseases.
How so?
Have you heard of the miasma theory?
I haven't, and you know that.
Basically, the thought behind it is that bad air, called miasma, carries all these different
Oh,
diseases.
so you think your asthma's worse than mine?
It carries all these different diseases, and if you breathe it in, you would get sick. You can picture miasma as a fog, and when it comes in, it brings vapors filled with disease such as cholera, the Black Plague, and even chlamydia.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Some believed they...
No, baby, I got the clap from just breathing.
Yeah, it was from the air. Some believed they could gain weight from the smell of food.
I feel like I can.
Sometimes, yeah, I feel that. The air supposedly got these diseases by blowing over rotting organic matter, such as vegetation, rotting corpses, stagnant water, and basically anything that smelled bad.
Yeah, I feel like I get sick from it too.
Yeah.
Chawfield players.
It's from that belief that they created plague doctor masks.
Ooh, I do like those.
I think we talked about this in the Paveglia episode, but those masks had long beaks for a reason. It wasn't just because it looked cool.
Oh.
The length was to put more space between them and the stinky smells. But the doctors also filled the beaks with flowers to filter out the bad air.
Oh.
They were incredibly close to understanding how it worked. They didn't understand that germs can also spread by touch and that they needed to wash their hands.
I'm telling you, that washing hands thing, man.
Yeah, but they were close. This theory was the beginning of public health practices. To protect themselves from melasma, people would clean public areas like the streets. They would remove anything that stank, including human waste.
Finally, fuck. Thank God, guys. I could not imagine being alive today with how it was back then. Fuck that.
Yeah. They burned things that might be infected, like their masks or their clothes.
Their neighbors.
We did see that in the Paveglia episode too. It even led to Britain creating sewage systems for individual homes. Then, of course, there were some weird precautions, such as using perfumes and avoiding night air.
Ooh, yeah, that night air.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Miasma theory lasted from roughly the 4th century to 1880, which was when medical professionals came up with the germ theory. But a lot of that intertwined with the plague, which we discussed, and that it sounds weird, but we really have the plague to thank for where we are in modern medicine, because people kind of realized, like you were talking about earlier, hey, none of this stuff is working. Maybe we need to try something else.
Yeah.
And then that's how we started seeing, like, washing their hands a little bit and cleaning things up.
You'll especially see that when it's on a larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just a handful of people. It's not that prevalent. But when it becomes a more massive scale, people actually do something about it and they change things.
Yeah.
Hey, stop cutting our fucking leg off because my toe hurts, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let me have 2 legs.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why my fucking toe hurts? And they're like, no.
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting to learn, like, the process of stuff like that. And that's just a few of the weird medical treatments that have popped up through history. We will most likely do another episode like this sometime because, like I said, I barely scratched the surface. We didn't even get into leeches.
Well, I did a little.
We barely did bloodletting. Didn't even touch lobotomies, but I feel like
I've only gotten one.
I feel like everyone talks about lobotomies, so hopefully you know what they are by now. But we'll definitely, I think, cover all of that in another episode. I'm just in the mood to do a really spooky episode, so I think that's what's next.
Oh.
Yeah. We talked about our lesser-known medical stuff. Next is Ouija boards.
Oh, Daquija.
Yeah. So, if you've ever used a Ouija board, if you have friends that have ever used a Ouija board, if you've just heard stories from relatives or whatever, please tell us your Ouija board stories.
Yeah, tell us about these Ouija board things. Maybe we'll cover them on the next episode. That'll be dope, dude.
Yeah. And you can send those stories to anxiousatbedtimepodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, and if you'd like, you can also like, follow, subscribe, and rate us.
You can find us on social media. We have a TikTok, an Instagram, a Facebook page, and a YouTube.
We got a YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a YouTube, guys.
We've had one the whole time. I just recently started posting our TikToks on there too.
Oh,
so.
okay. The world can be a scary place with poor medical practice, quite frankly. That was pretty poor, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But nowadays they've gotten better, so we're probably fine.
We're probably fine.
We're probably fine, right? Good night.
Sleep tight.